the same product that they were trying to sell in India for $15 per user per month, they were able to charge $100,000 on an annual contract to the USCPs.
Wow.
1 lakh. So instead of making 1000 rupees on a customer, now they are selling it 1 crore rupees per customer. 5 customers in 18 months, $500,000 business.
25 years in marketing. He lives in Pune, helps software companies sell to the world. And his argument is the way most founders are chasing the leads today is broken. My guest today is Kapil Bhutkar. Kapil, thank you so much for doing this. Really glad to have you here.
Thank you, Piyush. I am very glad to be here. Thanks for inviting.
So, Kapil, 25 years in this building from Pune, selling globally. Take us through that journey.
Okay, that's going to be a very wild and long journey, and most of my entrepreneur friends would really relate with this. So, I'm the first in my entire family to jump into the entrepreneurship, and any of you who is a first generation entrepreneur, you can relate with the whole journey where the typical family expectations of having a good job was always there. Especially, I'm born in a generation where the traditional banking and other jobs, safe jobs, so-called safe jobs, were already there. The government jobs were there, the banking jobs were there, and IT was very new. Mind it, I started my journey when Google was not there. So I started in 1998, 99, when all internet was about is just a few IRC chats and browsing Yahoo on a
Yeah.
very on a very slow internet. Today's generation may not know, or they might get shocked even when they listen to these stories how we used to connect to internet that time. So I'm a commerce graduate. Surprisingly, I never learned computers during my school days. We had no access to computers. I went for some commerce related courses, got introduced to computers, and straight away jumped into computers. Uh, one of the one of the businesses that are extinct today is internet cafes. So in our days, we used to have small cafes where we have to people could access internet,
Yeah.
and nobody had internet at home that time. So that was the idea. I started with a couple of friends who had some knowledge of computers. So we started with a cyber cafe, internet cafe, where people could come and browse internet. I had absolutely no idea what internet is, or how computers work, how computer engineering works, etc. And through the customers that started coming, I used to ask them what they do, why they do it, how they do it, why they pay, basically. So that was very strange, especially from the marketing side. If you think of this, that marketing is all about solving problems for people,
Yeah.
and I jumped into this by solving that problem but not knowing what problem I was solving in the first place. So I started asking them why they were paying me for this entire thing, and they showed me how internet works, how emails works, etc. And that's how the whole journey began. One notion was very clear at that time when I began. In the very first few months, I realized that this is something that will definitely go on a very large scale someday. And that is where I started learning internet, basic HTML and everything. And I built few prototypes of initially small websites, etc.
Yeah.
One of my website is still there. I don't remember the name of it, but that is the most cherishable memory in my entire journey, where one of my very close friend put a comment on the guest book of that particular website saying, my friend is crazy. He thinks that soon internet will be accessible to everybody at home, and I don't believe that will happen. Internet is very expensive. 25 years later, today we are roaming around everywhere with internet in our pockets. So
Yeah.
that is one important thing. I think as an entrepreneur, we all have to realize that when you start with a vision, typically as an entrepreneur, you will have an idea about the future. I want you to see the most important sentence of my life. that inspires me till date throughout this journey, and which I keep with me. It says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." So, as an entrepreneur, you would be the only person who will have a dream, who will have a vision, and very surprisingly, you will see nobody can see that. Your parents will not be able to understand what you are talking about. Your friends will not be able to understand that, and that's okay. So you have to start with that kind of vision. You have to start with those kind of ideas and believing in yourself. And I learned that pretty early. So we started with this internet cafe. Then very soon, the very one of the most memorable experiences that most of the entrepreneur friends hit, because it was a friend venture. Very soon, the rest of my friends, they lost their patience about the business. They left. I was left alone, and I had to carry everything on my own shoulders. Like I had those options whether to return to some job or continue. So I continued. One of my friend was in Japan, so he returned to India, and we started discussing about how technology works in Japan versus where it is going today. And then we started with a very small part-time kind of activity. We started providing web services to Japanese companies, and it took off really well that time. So we started catering to some of the very top companies in Japan, including Tokyo University, Beijing University, and we started offering bilingual solutions because internet was catching up very fast, and Asian countries were struggling to translate their capacities, capabilities, and expertise into English,
Yeah.
to showcase it to the global market. So we started helping with them, and soon we picked up. Probably in just less than 24 months, we were able to go from one part-time designer to a full-fledged team of 40 people.
Wow.
And that's how everything started changing. And these are the days where we built blogs for the clients. We built CRM systems, we built billing systems, many custom applications, and in fact, for one of our Chinese customer, we also built a social media. And now imagine all this even before WordPress was launched, before Facebook was there, before HubSpot or Salesforce was there. So that way we could see that there are companies which are having that kind of future vision about how the world should be, and there are companies who want such kind of help, and that is how the whole journey started. Later on, I started with Cybridge, and at Cybridge we started building similar kind of applications, online examinations for universities, etc. And for almost 15 years we did that. We started building really great software for enterprises. Eventually, we built our expertise into selling softwares to enterprises. And few years ago, when I started seeing that my new friends who were running their own software companies were struggling with selling their own softwares to the uh, enterprises or large accounts, I jumped into helping them, and eventually that is what became a core business for us.
Okay, it's quite a journey. Like, starting from a cyber cafe, then starting a small part time tech consultancy that turns into a 40 people company, then going into the marketing. A lot of shifts, in this.
Absolutely.
So, Kapil, when you said, like, you started this tech consulting initially, creating websites for companies in Japan, and then in 24 months you were gone from 2 people to 40 people, right? What was the pain in this?
Patience. Patience is the biggest key. When we started, it took 1 year, 1 full year for us to crack the market. So while my partner was struggling with getting new connections and getting meetings, talking to people, etc., I was roaming on the streets in Pune, going door to door on various little mom and pop shops, kind of things, kirana shops, convincing them why internet was important for them and how it can change the way they sell, and why they should set up a small website to sell to their customers. And that was lot of hard work, a lot of efforts to just keep the whole idea afloat, keep the business afloat until you really get a breakthrough customer. That was the biggest challenge.
And then when you were scaling, right? What happens generally is we start with a small team. Everything is lean, right? Everybody knows everybody.
Correct.
Then it starts to grow. And
Correct.
when it starts to grow, growth comes with its own problems, right?
Absolutely.
Scalability comes with its own problems. What were the challenges you faced while growing?
Absolutely. One thing I think most people miss in scaling of their businesses is understanding that the type of business you worked a few months ago with a smaller team and the type of business you are right now and the direction towards you are going are entirely different businesses altogether. So when you start a business, it is more like a family. It's a small business, more informal things. And so the communication is one on one. Like you said, it's a lean kind of.
Lean, yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. The talks are more informal, so it becomes very easy. You don't have to ask somebody to set up a meeting, or you don't have to ask somebody to even you don't need stand up meetings kind of things where you can take daily sync up calls and all. So that's a family kind of setup. But eventually, the whole organization transforms from that kind of personal conversation, a family setup, to a tribe. Now, if you look at a tribe, tribes still are informal, but then there are certain kind of rituals, repetitive tasks, few things that we all do together as a group activity.
Right.
Adjusting to that is very difficult, very important, but yet very important for every member, because earlier you are working as a single expert, lone wolf kind of thing, and
Yeah.
everybody is good at that. When you decide to do it a team game, it is entirely different. And when you go from there to even a bigger village kind of thing, then that is where the chaos starts building
Yeah.
in the process of scaling. Many entrepreneurs obsess with frameworks, they obsess with systems, softwares very early on. Like I have seen companies with 5 people using 10 different softwares to manage things. Like they have a project management software, they have a calendar software, this,
Yeah. Yeah.
that, right? And then they have very structured meetings, time blocking, and all that. These are great things when you reach out to a scale, probably 100 people or something like that, not before that. And then most of the time is wasted into these kind of, handling, managing those softwares, learning them, and then people start feeling really frustrated. So, not overburdening the whole team with the systems and trying to keep it as smooth as possible is the biggest challenge, I think. Like, if your team is comfortable talking to each other on WhatsApp, create a WhatsApp group and chat there. You really don't have to have Slack, you don't really have to have something very sophisticated thing which actually is not contributing anything.
Yeah. So it's like, like you said, first we are like a group of a small family, then we become a tribe, then we become a village, then we become a city,
Then the
right?
city.
Yeah.
Then the city has a mayor.
Mayor, yeah.
Now everybody is looking for the mayor for his instruction without working without working on their own. So people, and then that is where people start pinpointing towards the manager.
Right.
The moment you ask why you didn't do this, they will simply say because the manager didn't tell me to do that. Earlier at the tribe level, everybody is doing whatever they are supposed to do. Now they are waiting for the instructions. And then more complicated structure comes like policies and this and that, like law and enforcement kind of things.
Yeah.
Then people are more afraid of doing something and breaking some company policies or company rules than actually contributing to the value to their work.
Value to the that is absolutely true, because then once you are aligned with like ये रूल बुक है, इससे ही चलना है, इसके बाहर कुछ नहीं कर सकते, तो then the creativity is gone, right? Then you're
Absolutely.
just, yeah, then you're just having people who are coming 9 to 5, doing what they want to do in the shift and going off.
Absolutely, absolutely. I found a good way to work around this is create small islands kind of teams, So small groups. So if say for example, if you are a 25 people company, so you can easily create 5 different groups within the company, right? They may be based on projects, it may be based on roles, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they have to be more naturally forming rather than very strict kind of thing. And then you can sync up all those groups with each other, so that becomes a much better way to handle these kind of things, because then the communication becomes clear and people are comfortable. See, having 10 people, like a 10 people group is really good for productivity. The moment it goes beyond that, it is a one to many communication, then you lose the one to one communication over there.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
into one room and they can discuss with this. I'm pretty sure most of your listeners will also be knowing Jeff Bezos rule of team size.
Yeah.
So Jeff Bezos has a very clear rule at Amazon since its inception, even till today. He says that any meeting room should have only the maximum number of people who can eat two pizzas together. That's it. Anything more than that, it is too big team to discuss any matters.
And then
And I
you would
think
not get any outcome out of it,
you
right?
won't get, because then the communication becomes one to many.
One too
And
many.
there
Yeah.
is no discussion.
Yeah.
Then there is somebody is talking, others are listening, and then probably they are holding themselves back because everybody is afraid of again a division.
Yeah.
What if some people in the room are not aligned with me? So they will better, they will better choose to stay quiet than counter the idea, and that becomes the biggest danger in any scaling organization.
Great, great. And Kapil, let's talk about Cybridge. So, what exactly Cybridge does? Like you said, you guys were into development of websites and web apps and applications, and now helping other software organization to do the marketing. So, how did this transition happen?
Correct. So about near the COVID era, I saw many of my software friends who were running their own software companies, having great products but failing to reach out to the customers. Many of them lost customers. Many businesses were shut down during the pandemic and other things, and that is where I stepped in. I started helping them out, and at the same time, parallelly, the talent cost was shooting up in India, if you remember. And hiring the right talent was becoming a big challenge, with competing with the large IT companies offering huge packages and everything. So that is where I started realizing that this was a better opportunity aligned with my own interests and skills. I am more passionate about marketing, helping customers, than actually getting into the deliveries, building the software. Of course, it is an interesting area, but my heart goes more towards helping people to solve their problems. And I think marketing is a great way to connect people who need help. So to connect with them and to make them assure that the help is available is something that I think is a really noble profession after being a teacher probably or a doctor. So I started helping my friends with that, and eventually the topic came up where they asked me for a professional, commercial way to do that. And then obviously I needed to avoid the conflict of interest, because if I am also building softwares, they are also my clients are also building softwares, then it would not be ethically right that I take their money, I get customers, and there will be always a conflict of interest kind of thing. So we full-fledgedly started with that, with our experience into especially pitching to enterprise customers. This is very interesting. That the one of the biggest challenges I have seen with all small size, mid size software companies, all type of startups, is they are very reluctant to approach large companies, because the biggest hurdle for them is a mental block, where they think that we are a small size company, so we cannot approach to big clients, we cannot onboard big clients. And I have seen this as a very consistent theme for years, where the companies are having great products but they are not daring even to approach large companies, because they think we are a small size 20 people company, how can we connect with a public listed company, how can we connect with a Fortune 500 company, how can we sell it to them, why they will buy from us. And
Yeah.
this is the constant theme we have seen. All right, and that is where we started seeing that this is an area which is very critical problem in terms of marketing itself. and we are definitely able to help people in doing that. So that's why we started focusing on helping software companies to land enterprise clients. Our focus is helping software companies to sell their product or solutions to large enterprises, and that is our specialization. We specialize into getting those kind of large clients for software companies.
So, Kapil, talking about marketing, and like you said, there is a fear of approaching larger enterprise or to your, I would generalize this to your target customer, right? So, there's
Correct.
one thing that every entrepreneur might have got scared with is ICP, right? So if you demystify ICP for us, ideal client persona, who is my customer who will actually buy my product or service?
Correct. Fantastic. So I'll tell you very interesting. The most I would say the most important four word definition or four-word secret keyword that I remembered throughout my entire this journey I came up with is what about entrepreneurship first. So what is entrepreneurship? So the definition I came up with for entrepreneurship is solving problems for profit. And I believe this is the most powerful definition you can ever find, with all the MBA packed into it. So solving problems for profit is entrepreneurship. Now the first two words is all about marketing, solving problems, and the latter two words is all about finances, for profit. So many companies, many entrepreneurs lose their entire passion, their entire businesses, only because one of the two things they do wrong. Either they fail into solving a problem, or they fail into making
Making
profit.
profits. Yeah.
Right. And so once you understand that entrepreneurship is all about solving problems, you just go deeper into the same statement, asking the questions, okay, so if it is about solving problems, the first question you have to ask is what problem I am solving. So there are two approaches. There are two approaches, whether you are building or selling a product or solution to the two marketings. Number one, you can decide whom you want to sell without a product or service. Okay, you can just say I want to sell to these people. That's it. So for example, I may say okay, like the philosophy I use, and even during my workshops I tell people is uh, on the similarity of the famous rich dad poor dad concept. I always classify clients as rich clients, poor clients. So what you really want to do is do business with rich clients. You must work with people who are already having a lot of money to spend on you, because that is the only way to survive your business, make a lot of money, and really grow. Does that mean that you should not cater to people who don't have money or the poor clients? No, they also need help, so they should be catered, definitely, yes. The only thing is they leave them to your competitors. All right, so let your competitors serve the poor clients, you focus on the rich clients. So first is to decide, one method is to decide whom you want to cater, and then go after their problems. For example, I may say, okay, I want to cater only to people who own a private jet. That's it. Because I know they are having millions of dollars in their pocket. Correct? So you go there and then you start studying what problems they have. And of course, they will be having very strange problems than you have. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you start understanding what are their problems, what are the problems they care about, and what problems they want to solve. And then you simply start solving those problems without having any ego about whether what you really want to do in your life. Because you are very clear that I want to sell to the richest guys in the world and I want to make money out of that. What product I sell doesn't matter. Okay? So either you go that way. So which means first you decide whom you want to sell, then you do deep research on what are their problems, and then you start offering those solutions. Another way, what most of the people do is they have something and they have a hypothesis that this is something that solves a problem. So you have a product, you have a service, you have a talent, for example. So you are good at something and you want to sell it. So that is the second approach. So solving problems. So when you want to solve problems, who you want to who who are the people whose problem you want to solve. So if you are already having a solution, you have to go in deep research. Who are the people to whom I am going to sell this? Now what happens, most of the entrepreneurs make a mistake saying my product solves problem for everybody. If I am having a CRM, it can be used by all businesses. The
Yeah.
question is not about whether it can be used by everybody, right? The question is, you have to decide exactly where you want to focus on. Remember, Apple is the one of the richest companies in the world, and still they are also having constraints on the kind of resources they can put in marketing. So it is the same with you. You don't have unlimited resources, I don't have unlimited resources, so
Yeah,
you have to focus
absolutely.
on, so we have to focus it on the most profitable product and most profitable customers. So there will be a lot of there will be a set of customers who might benefit from that problem, but if they don't agree to buy it, or if they don't have the buying capacity in the first place, then it is waste of your efforts to trying to sell to them or convince them. So first is whom you want to sell, what problem you are solving, who are you solving that problem for, and then you have to go deeper asking whether they are aware of that problem in the first place, and if they are aware of that problem, whether they want to solve that problem. Many times people have problem, most companies and their marketing goes wrong here. They think this person is having a problem, I have a solution, so definitely they are going to buy it. But many times people have problems, but they don't want to solve that problem because that problem is not their priority. For example, if you go to a company and you say cybersecurity is the most critical part in AI, today's AI world, because even AI is getting better at cyber breach and everything, right? Is that a valid problem? It is, of course. But is it a priority? Depends on the company you are targeting. If it is a two people startup who are struggling to build their MVP,
Yeah,
and you try to pitch them a cybersecurity product, for them it is not a priority. Do they have a
exactly.
problem? They have a problem.
Yeah.
But the problem is still in future. That is not priority. For them right now, getting funds for next month's cash flow is a bigger problem.
It's like you are asking a hungry person, telling a hungry person पैसा सब कुछ नहीं होता. He's going to slap you like basically मुझे तो खाना खाने के लिए पैसा चाहिए यार. अरे
Absolutely.
कहाँ, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So, so
getting it.
what happens is, so you have to decide whether they have a problem and whether they want to solve that problem, and whether they want to solve that problem right now. Many times people have a problem, they are aware they want to solve, but they don't want to solve it right now because of their priorities, right? And then if they want to solve it right now, whether they have the budgets to solve. This is the most interesting thing I have seen, where even bigger companies, large corporations go wrong. Understanding the concept of budgets. Companies, they look at their ideal client persona and they think that if a company is making multi-million dollars, they will buy my solution. It doesn't happen, right? Because having a multi-million dollar revenue doesn't guarantee that they want to put $1 million into the solution that you are selling. So you have to understand the concept of budget. Somebody, like a basic simple example is a kid asking their parents for a watch or probably a new bicycle, all right? And usually you will see the parents will say that okay, we will buy it next month. Does that mean the parent doesn't have money? They do have the money.
No, but that is not a priority right now.
No, because there is a budget. Because this month we have to pay your fees. Your school fee, the money is there, but it is for the school fees. It is not there for the bicycle. Bicycle budget will come in next month when you have your birthday. Right? Same goes with large companies. Same goes with everything in marketing. Like the client might not be having the budgets right now to spend on. So you have to understand that whoever you are trying to pitch the your product or service, you have to really make sure that whether they are having those kind of pain points, whether they are having that kind of budgets, and only those companies, only those people who are having those kind of budgets and that kind of need, and who want to spend that kind of the money that you are asking for, which is most critical part, right? Not bargaining. So whatever price you are asking for, whether they are ready to buy it at that price, that should be your basic criteria. That is where you can say it is a ICP. A very simple framework that we use is band qualification. So typically what happens, the typical process or practice is marketing department generates leads and they give it to sales, and the pre-sales guys, they get onto discovery call and they qualify it, and then they decide whether that lead is good or not. Now, interestingly, globally, 70% of the leads that are generated by marketing are discarded by sales as not qualified, because they say these are not the right people to sell to. And how do they do that? They use a simple qualification, globally a qualification framework called as BAND, which is basically scoring the client, the inquiry, based on budget, authority, need, and timeline. So, four questions you ask: whether they have a budget required for this, who's
Yeah.
paid. Second is whether the person I'm talking to is a decision making authority. Because if they don't have any authority to make a decision, I don't want to waste my time. Third is need, whether they are aware of that problem and whether they want to solve it. And fourth is, right, I said, if they want to solve it, whether they want to solve it right now. You may want to solve it in next year. Then I'm not interested. If I'm offering, for example, in your case, for example, if and you must be receiving these kind of calls or messages, right? Do you want to set up your business in UAE? The obvious answer is yes. Do you want to set up right now? No. Probably
No.
sometimes when I grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So you don't want to waste your resources into handing out information to people who don't want to buy right now. So the simple qualification framework is budget, authority, need, and timeline. What we are doing at Cybridge, which is bringing more results, is we have brought that entire framework from sales to marketing. So when we create our first prospecting list, whom we should be selling, whom we should be approaching, at that level only we qualify the entire prospecting list with band.
So this is interesting. Like you don't bring in 100 people who are interested looking at your ad and then qualify, rather than you see who are the 100 people who will be actually interested in buying this. So let's go and show the ad to them only. Right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
One of my favorite learnings throughout this experience, hack you can say, is the best customers and best employees come from your competitors. So it is much easier to convince a customer of your competitor who is unhappy with your competitor to try your service than to educate somebody new to try your services. You know, somebody who have never used those kind of services. So if you are, for example, if you are selling a ERP software or a CRM software, it is much easier to look at your competitors' CRM users who are not happy, and you can see it through their user reviews, Google reviews, and all that, right? That people are really on the App Store. You can see their
Yeah.
user reviews, and those unhappy people are your customers. So
Wow.
instead of saying that are you using Excel, instead of that start using CRM, which typically everybody does. All you say is, are you tired of expensive software like HubSpot? Not spending more time in updating the CRM instead of the actual work. Switch to us. So you are focusing on a very specific competitor user group which is upset with them, and convert them. So that is what is the intent. So we focus on these things. So we start with identifying those kind of intent first, qualify them with band, and then only reach out to them. And that is why our conversion rates are very high. Even our conversation rates are very high. Like on LinkedIn, if you see, if you are reaching out to people on LinkedIn and you send connection request, you send messages, the typical reply rate you will see is somewhere around 5%.
Yeah.
When you do
That is also too much. 5% is way too much. 1%, 2% even bother to accept the invite, and after
correct,
accepting the invite, they ghost you. Like they don't
correct.
even respond.
At Cybridge, because we are pre-qualifying the entire prospect list with their problems and their expertise and everything, we very consistently see for our clients that the connection acceptance rates go somewhere around 60%. The highest I have seen is recently is 90% for one of our clients. And the reply rates are typically like we are not surprised when we say typical reply rates in between somewhere around 40% to 50%, like very general for us in Cybridge, uh, whereas everybody else is struggling with 4%, 5%, 8% reply rates. Because, like I said, we are focusing very much on pre-qualifying even before we touch people. If we know that they have a problem, that is only when we step in, and that is where only we go and approach them.
Superb. One thing, Kapil, is like, I want to understand for all entrepreneurs, especially the ones who are starting now, starting the journey, होता ये है कि we undersell our product or service, right? We
Absolutely.
think we think if we are going to charge a bomb, nobody is going to buy from us.
Correct.
That is a fear. Then we start doing what we start doing is we start selling our product or services for cheap, right? And then also we get a kind of customer who is also bargaining on that very low rate, and that
Rich
becomes a
client, poor
very,
client. That is what I said. Rich
yeah,
client, poor client.
poor client. And then it becomes a very, demotivating kind of, you are in a demotivated kind of zone that मैंने तो बहुत अच्छा बनाया, then I thought मैं इसको 50,000 में बेचूंगा, लेकिन 50,000 में बिक नहीं रहा, अब तो 25 में भी बेचने की कोशिश की, वो भी नहीं बिका, अब 15 में आ गया, तो भी लोग नहीं खरीद रहे, अब 5,000 में आ गया, अब क्या 2,000 में बेचूं, right? So how to get out of it, and how to, uh, what is your advice in this area?
Okay, great. Couple of examples I'll give. Very interesting. Uh, at Cybridge, we won a contract for building online examinations for one of the very recognized government university, and especially during the early days of internet, where other universities were failing very badly. So there were public failures in conducting online examinations by multiple universities in India. And the overall notion was that online education and online examination will not work in India. So when we were bidding for that contract, there were 18 other companies, including some of the multinational companies, and we were competing with that. We won that contract, and interestingly, we conducted the first successful online examination in India with 100,000 students live concurrently throughout 100 engineering colleges. The most interesting part about this is when we won that contract, when we did all this, we were only a six people team.
Wow.
So it was six people and me sitting in one small room competing with 17 other companies, multinational companies, some of them having literally 20, 30,000 employees. And still we were able to do that. And I have done this again and again multiple times. One of our key clients at Cybridge is a number one mutual fund management company, which is 1,000 crore plus turnover in India, where a leader into their fintech segment. And when we won that customer, we were going through a phase where we were only three people left in the company, and still we were able to onboard that kind of client. So again and again I have seen this, that the size of company doesn't matter when you want to onboard a big company or big enterprises, if you know how to position yourself. People do not buy size of your organization. They have a very specific problem. If you are able to solve that problem, companies don't care what is your size.
No, but the question is like, you are able to solve the problem, but when you are into that sales meeting,
Eh,
how do you put the price?
So I'm coming to that only. So once you understand that people are interested in solving the problem, not your head count, the basic basic block, mental block, mindset block is we think we are a small team, so we should be charging less because our costs are less. The problem is the typical mindset in India. You will see in entrepreneurs thinking about price as cost plus profit is equal to price. That is what we have been taught, right? And that
Yeah,
is what we.
exactly.
So the way we think is, if my cost is 1,000 rupees, and if I put my margins 20, 30%, because we are groomed to think that we should not be greedy, all right? So we think more than 20-30% is not justifiable. I cannot make 50% profit on my 1,000 rupees cost. So typically we will put it somewhere around 30% at the max, 20-30%. So we go like 1,000 rupees cost plus 200 rupees profit. So I'll sell it for 1,200 rupees. The moment you say 1,200 rupees and the negotiation starts, your margin already starts getting thinner.
Yeah.
Eventually, when your cost rises a little bit, eventually converting the whole transaction into losses. That mindset needs to be changed. The price is aligned with the value that the customer is receiving. Price is not about what is your cost. Price is about what is the perception of the customer to solve that problem. How big is that problem for them? Right. And so for the customer, if it is like I said, we worked with this one of these large fintech. The problem we were solving them was related to a very critical RBI compliance. Okay, even today if you look at, I'll give you the latest example. So currently in India, government has, RBI has launched DPDP Act, a new data protection act,
Yeah.
which makes it mandatory for all large organizations with more than 100,000 records, customer base, to go through certain compliances, okay, about their data and everything. Now, whenever you are trying to sell to any NBFCs, banks, enterprises, if you know that this thing is happening, you will try to position how this is going to help them in the compliance. Now, the question of pricing, when it comes to pricing, typically you will start thinking, if I am having this head count, then I should be pricing it at X, right? But what are the implications if they don't comply? What is the cost of not complying with RBI? So if any of the institute fails to comply with this act, they are going to be fined with somewhere around 250 crores. Now the moment you understand that non-compliance is going to cost them 250 crores, you know they don't have any budget issues. Alright? So if your solution is helping them to comply to avoid a penalty of 250 crores, there should not be a question of how many people are you having on your team to solve that. So you have to put more efforts into doing the research about how much that problem is important for that customer and how much it is costing to them.
Mm.
So the way you price, so pricing, like I said, is about the perception of that problem by the customer. It is not about how much is your cost to solve that problem. Your cost might be negligible, especially when it comes to intellectual things like strategy making, for example. You may think that it doesn't cost you anything, right? Or you might be having a software ready with you, but how much it will cost them if they have to build that entire software from scratch, if they fail to do that in time, correct? And I'll give you two important, very simple formulas to do that
Yeah.
in the pricing part, right? How I ensure that the closing rates are very high. uh, you have to give two numbers to your customers, okay, and this is the language that they understand. First number is, what is the return on investment?
ROI.
ROI. Okay, that I am very specifically saying return on investment instead of saying using the regular term of ROI is because how you calculate it is important.
Okay.
The moment you show to your customer that this is not expense, what we think when we ask a price is that they are going to spend this much money. So you have to change that framework, you have to change that positioning, okay, so you have to frame it as an investment, don't frame it as an expense. So if you are selling, for example, telecalling AI agent, so don't think that they are going to spend 2 lakh rupees on the product. You are asking them to spend 2 lakh rupees on the product. That is why there is always hesitation about pricing when you ask pricing, like when you try to quote something. Instead of that position, frame it as an investment. So if you are going to invest this much amount in this solving this problem, what is the return that you are getting? Most of the entrepreneurs I have seen fail to understand and to put efforts into calculating this on behalf of their customer. Your customer is not going to do this, you have to do it. So you have to show your customer that if you invest 10 lakh rupees into our solution, it is going to save you 50 lakh rupees, or it is going to make you 1 crore rupees. So when the customer sees that whatever amount they are investing, right, not spending on you,
Spending, yeah, yeah.
investing in your solution is going to give you 4x 5x returns. So this is first important, return on investment. You have to position your product as a investment or solution as an investment for the customer, because from their perspective it is, they are prioritizing everything based on the returns only.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because this that is what is going on in their mind कि अगर मैं ये solution खरीदूंगा तो मेरे business में क्या फायदा होगा, इससे मेरा कितना how bigger it will be or what money I am going to make over a longer period of
Correct.
time, right?
Absolutely. Again, there are only two things people are concerned, like people are ready to spend money with. First, if that makes me more money. Second, if that saves me money. That's it. These are the only two problems people are going to put their money for. Right? So whatever you are selling, you have to show them how it is aligned with one of these two things. So if you buy my solution, don't say it will increase your efficiency, it will make you more productive, it will save your time. Nobody understands saving time. What are, like, if you tell somebody it will save you 3 hours a day, what I am going to do with those 3 hours? I am going to watch a movie. So I don't want to save my 3 hours. You have to convert those 3 hours into dollar value.
I am basically selling a customer onboarding software wherein I am telling I'm into a sales meeting and I'm telling a potential client that basically if you use my software, your customer onboarding workflow will be like streamlined and you will save around 3 hours per day that your team is doing for customer onboarding.
Okay.
Right? Right? That won't sell.
That won't save because it's all abstract. The value is abstract.
But if I rephrase this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Go
that
ahead.
Kapil, I have a amazing customer onboarding software with which you will be able to onboard 25% more customers with the same team.
Okay. Little better.
So what is
Still
your
abstract.
version?
Still abstract.
So tell me your version.
Very interesting. Marketing is more about numbers and it will feel more like finance, but that is what actually converts. So I will be saying that if you use my software, it will help you to save 3 hours, right? 3 hours for your 5 people team to onboard a customer, which translates to what, 15 man hours, right? You are paying your people, say, at a rate of thousand rupees per hour kind of. So that will straightforward save 15,000 rupees for you. Okay, every time. So my software saves you 15,000 rupees in onboarding costs every time you onboard a new customer. Now can you see how much ROI you are getting with investing with my customer? So if you are onboarding 5 customers every month, that would be a straightforward 75,000 rupees you will be saving every month by just investing 2,000 rupees in my product, right? Now,
Right. Right.
so what is the ROI? So if you invest 5,000 rupees to save 75,000 rupees, does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's a sold.
Sold, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you place it as a premium product?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you sell premium products instead of 5,000. What if it is a 50,000 rupees product or service?
Yeah.
So you just go deeper. See, most interesting thing about marketing is you have to tell your customer about something that they don't know, and that is how you position yourself as an expert. Okay,
Okay. I am telling you something about you that you don't know.
that you don't know. And how you do it is you go deeper, don't stop there. So you have to tell the full story to them. Now onboarding itself is not problem. What happens is when the customer has a bad onboarding experience, 40% of customers tend to leave the project or leave your software or leave your company within 3 months if they have a bad onboarding experience because they lose trust. Now suddenly what is happening? You are telling them that bad onboarding is a real problem. It's not about onboarding, it's about customer churn. That if you don't streamline the onboarding, you will lose revenue because you will churn that customer within 3 months, right? Not only that, because the customer doesn't know your software well, your products well, it will increase your cost in customer support because that customer will keep calling you back for customer support,
Right,
isn't it?
right. Now I
There will be
see
more customer required.
how deep the roots are, right? So you have to go into every each and every aspect and find out something that is going to
And
add
then put
value.
numbers to that. Convert everything into a dollar value.
Right, right.
So if your onboarding is not right, and if it is taking 10 hours every month from one customer in customer support, adding that, so with 10 customers you will be wasting 100 hours on customer supports which you could have saved in the onboarding itself. All right. And when customers face problems in using your software, using your product, they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel it as a great product, so they will hesitate recommending it to anybody else, which means you will be losing revenue by referrals because they are not going to create any referrals for you. So that will be another lost customer,
Wow.
right? So the
That's an
first thing that I
absolute
told you,
eye opener. Yeah.
the first thing I told you about that 75,000 rupees, that is what I call as the ROI method. Okay, so you tell them what is the ROI. So the ROI is very straightforward. You invest 15,000 rupees to save 75,000 rupees. So your return on investment is 5x. Correct. The second most important thing you can do is called as cost of inaction. So you start telling them that they have a choice to not to buy your software, not buy your software. That's okay. As a customer, you have a choice to not solve this problem. But then, not solving this problem is going to cost you more. How? So this is the cost of inaction. That the churn rate will go on. You will be spending 100 hours more onto customer support. You will be losing new customers on referrals. Correct? So when you get custom referrals, what it means? A happy customer will give you 3 referrals in a year. Correct? With a CAC, cost of acquisition, cost of customer is zero. Right now, to generate a lead and get a customer, you are spending, say, for example, 30,000 to onboard to get a new customer. So if you are spending 30,000 rupees to get a new customer, it will be 90,000 rupees to get 3 new customers. But when an existing customer refers you 3 new customers, you are saving those 90,000 rupees in your marketing. But because you are not doing the onboarding correct, you are losing on that 90,000 rupees because you will be spending those 90,000 rupees for onboarding new 3 customers. That is the
Right.
cost of inaction. But for everything, you just start converting it into a dollar value. Unless
Yeah.
you put a number there, the customer is not going to understand it.
Yeah. So what
Decision
am I going to
becomes the
save? Sorry.
the decision becomes logical the moment you put a number there. And
Absolutely.
remember, people buy with emotions, but to do that, they need to justify it logically. Even people who buy like expensive sports cars, when somebody puts 40, 50, 60 lakh rupees in a BMW, they are not buying a new car really. They don't need a car to go from point A to point B because they are already having one, which is a 15 lakh rupees car. Correct?
Correct.
So people buy emotionally. But have you ever seen somebody saying that riding a BMW give me a ego boost? You ask your friend why are you buying a BMW or why did you buy a BMW? And you will always find a logic. Better safety, it has better standards, you know,
Yeah.
the experience. When you go to meetings, it gives a good impression.
Yeah.
It's very important to go in make a good image in front of clients. So the justification is always logical. So you have to give your customer In marketing, you have to give your customer an emotional reason to buy, which is removing their pain. Correct? So that is your emotional pitch, that this will take away your pain, and then give them a logic so that they can justify their spending. They are happy when somebody else asks them, or they themselves think about spending that money.
Right. This is really important because what happens as we entrepreneurs are looking towards marketing is get in a lot of leads every month, and then book lot of meetings and calls with them, and then basically run a script to talk to them over those meetings, right? But that conversion into that is very low, and it's very frustrating and time consuming process. Rather than if you do a proper research, you might be able to talk to only 3 4 leads in a month, right? But then out of that, conversion will be very high.
Exactly.
This is like a total
That
different
should be
kind
the
of.
whole focus.
That should be the focus, like, because at the end of the day, what will move the needle? When you make a sale, when somebody writes a check, right? Only that will move the needle, right? Amazing. This has, like,
Absolutely.
this has like changed the way I look at marketing now.
When we are talking about premium, selling premium products or selling to enterprises, large organizations, we have
Yeah,
to remember that there is no one single person who is going to take the final call on the purchase. So
yeah,
you might be talking to a CTO, but the CTO has to go back and convince the CFO and CEO, the buying committee,
yeah.
on this
There is a
when it
chain
comes to
of command
enterprise.
there, right?
Right? You want to buy a BMW for yourself, right? But still you have to convince your wife why it is important for your business,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Otherwise you are not going
absolutely.
to get the apple, right? So there is always going to be another person whom they need to convince, typically in business what we call as a stakeholder, right?
Yeah,
So you have to present it in a logical, you have to give them the logic that they can share with that stakeholder. They are buying, they are convinced emotionally, but they need a third person logical, explanation to why that purchase is justifiable.
justifiable, right. Why
Justifiable.
it's worth
Most
money.
of the sales, most of the sales is lost when you are not able to justify it with numbers. All right.
Absolutely.
I'll
Yeah,
give you a very simple example. One of my friend is running a franchisee of a very popular clothing brand. Right. So we were discussing about this, and he told me one of the biggest challenge he was facing is whenever somebody came to buy their first suit, people were looking at a very beginner range, probably 5,000, 7,000 kind of budgets. Correct. And so when we discussed about this, I advised him a very small thing to do. Go deeper into the customer's problem, their requirement about this, and use this method. Now, what happened? He asked me for a demo, so I went to his shop and we had a customer walk in. So obvious choice was, he said, this is my first suit. I need it for meetings, and I want to go on a low budget range. So I am having a 5 to 8,000 rupees budget to put on a suit. So we gave him what he wanted, and he tried and everything. Okay. Once that was done, I asked him what it was for. So he said it is for a business meeting. He was attending some network, startup network, investment network kind of thing. It was a network meet basically. And then I said, why are you doing that? So he said, I'm having this interesting startup with all that enthusiasm, all this, and I'm raising funds and this and that. So I'm going to places with this. And I said, remember, people are going to judge the value of your startup based on your image, right? And this is another suit. Now look at these two different suits. You wear it and you will see immediately the difference between those two. Even when you look at them, you can see the fabric is different, the design is different, right?
yeah.
So the people you are going to meet are going, you are asking them to put $1 million in your idea. And when they look at you, if they see that you are a cheap guy, right? Because they are going to judge you by your clothes before they judge you with your idea. Can you afford doing that? Somebody rejecting you based solely on that, that okay, this guy doesn't have that kind of, uh, This guy doesn't understand market. This guy doesn't understand how to come for an event even. How much they are going to bet on you for investing in into your startup? $1 million. So if you want to get $1 million, how much you should be investing into yourself? And then we showcase them a couple of suits which were around 20-25,000 range. And when he, had them, he checked himself out, and suddenly now with this new perspective, when he looked back to the 5,000, 8,000 budget suit he had, he was like, I can make it out that that one is a very cheap suit after I am wearing this one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to judge everybody by that, with the shoes, with the suit. Now you see that the problem is not about the budget. He made that budget. His budget was 8,000. He bought a suit which is worth 25,000 rupees, and
Three
then
times. Yeah.
three times
Almost.
the
Yeah.
suit, and then another probably 5,000 rupees into a tie, a matching tie with the same quality, and then a belt, and then another 3, 4, 5,000 rupees in shoes, matching shoes, and all that. So all in all, the total sale went somewhere around, I guess, 45,000 rupees. All right. The same problem, like there's the same customer with a budget of 8,000, eventually he went to 45. The whole idea, if you see here, is the whole reason, the way the sale was driven is, number one, understand what is the problem they are trying to solve, show them that you know that problem better than them, correct, show them the return on investment. Is it worth buying a 25,000, investing 25,000 rupees in a suit that gets you $1 million funding? Is it worth? Yes, no, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then the last is cost of inaction. What if it fails? What if you go on a budget and it fails? Is it worth taking the risk of buying a cheap suit and failing your funding round? Just because
Wow. That is a sales framework altogether you explained in
it's
just within a minute.
absolutely. And
Wow,
this is how you
amazing.
sell, no matter what is your size, no matter what is your product, no matter what is your service, and no matter what is the who is the customer you want to sell. And when
Superb.
you know that you can make a sale using this, why sell cheap products? Right?
Yeah.
You want to sell bigger products, because you know that whether you implement this to sell 1,000 rupees product, or whether you implement this to sell $1 million product, it is going to take you exactly the same effort, same pitch. Then why to sell 1,000 rupees product? I'll give you a very small example here to encourage your listeners to think big. And sometimes we think that we need to do something very drastically different if we want to sell, uh, but that is not true. One of our customer is a software company in India which was having a accounting online accounting software, which they were competing with QuickBooks and Zoho Books and everything, right? Typically, and their target was Indian SMBs, small businesses. The typical, we want to change the world kind of
Yeah.
attitude. We want to help small businesses attitude. So they were selling their accounting software for $15 a month per user, like $15 per user per month, kind of 1,000 rupees per user per month, and they were struggling with that. They were having 75,000 free users, okay, in a freemium model, and the conversion was hardly 2%. So only 2% people were actually buying the software, and they had put it the lowest cost in India possible, 1,000 rupees per user per customer per month. So when we discussed about that, what we changed is we just repositioned them, the whole software without any changes, to sell to US based CPAs. So we took the same software, just changed the messaging, approached US based chartered accountants, saying that you can implement this as a white label solution to manage all your customers, and suddenly your auditing and everything, all the efforts are gone. Because if your customer starts using this, you will have the entire audit report and everything with ready to use kind of thing. The same product that they were trying to sell in India for $15 per user per month, they were able to charge $100,000 on an annual contract to the US CPs.
Wow.
1 lakh. So instead of making 1,000 rupees on a customer, now they are selling it 1 crore rupees per customer. Five
My
customers
God.
did in 18 months. $500,000 business, the same product. And once you know you can do that, do you really want to a $15 customer?
No, absolutely not.
If a customer is giving you $100,000
Yeah.
annual contract, right? How many customers you want to capture from the market? So capture the market share, having the biggest market share is an illusion, right? Instead of that, focus on the premium market. Just
Yeah.
look at
This
Apple.
is,
It's only 3% of the market.
yeah,
Still, they are having 97% of the profits made in entire mobile industry.
correct. Correct. That is one amazing story. Like,
Thank you.
selling from $15 per month to $100,000 a year, a limited number of clients, but then you're making huge amount of profit and you are actually solving the problem where
Now
actually it
imagine you
exists.
have only five customers over there. So
Yeah,
what is better? What is better? Trying to support 75,000 free users or trying to or supporting only five customers who are paying you such premium. So your support quality will be high, your product quality will be high. You will be
absolutely.
actually understand what are their problems, align your software towards that. All right? And be at
Absolutely.
peace, enjoy your life.
Absolutely. This is really an eye opener
Yeah.
conversation so far. So
Thank you.
Kapil, moving on to the next section, we have a small rapid fire for you. So you just
Go ahead.
have to answer whatever comes in your mind first. There won't be many questions. So
Okay.
I'll shoot on the first one. Cold email or LinkedIn DM?
LinkedIn always. We don't do cold emails.
One book that has shaped how you do business.
There are many. Um, so, but if I want it for specifically for your listeners, Steven Spielberg has a very interesting book called as 10-Day MBA. So
10-day MBA. Okay.
Indian MBA. So one of so these were a few friends who got into, some of them got into Harvard, some went to Cambridge, some went to Yale and other prestigious universities. And after their MBA, when they came together, they discussed what do these universities teach, which is not taught outside in our regular institutes. And then they felt that it is very unfair to other students and other people not to have access to that knowledge. So they compiled the entire top universities syllabus the way it is taught, and squeezed it into one single book called as 10 days MBA, and it's amazing. By experience I will tell you this. I spent 5 years learning commerce and struggled 5 years to match the accounts, the tally. Typically we know the assets and
Yeah.
the balance sheet, both sides of the balance sheets, and I know many people struggle with that. When I went through that book, it has a very simple formula called as A is equal to C plus L. So which means assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. So basically on one side you write all your assets, on another side you just write your capital and liabilities. That's it. And
Awesome.
suddenly it tells the whole thing. So similar kind of, small but very interesting ways, the way the MBA people, the top universities teach you to solve the problems faster than our regular education. So this is something which is a must read for everybody. Another one, very unfair if I don't mention, this should be the top one, is biography of Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. Rather read as many as books possible on Steve Jobs.
Okay, great. And most overrated word in marketing today.
GTM probably. Go to
Go
market
to
strategy.
market. Why is
Everybody is
that?
talking about it.
Everybody wants a fast
Everybody is
GTM. It's the
talking
age
about
of AI, right?
yeah, correct, correct, correct. AI SDR is another automation, AI automation. Most overrated thing. Uh,
And Mumbai or Pune?
Pune always.
Always Pune. Marketing is expensive or advertising is expensive?
If done correct, if not done correctly, both are expensive, for sure. So
And
because the job, because the function is very different. See, advertising is part of marketing. Advertising is basically making sure that you go in front of people. All right. The role of marketing is to create interest, in front of the people, but for that you use advertising. Right. But before that, you have to decide which people you want to go in front of in the first place. The ICP thing.
Sales team or marketing team?
Marketing always. If there is no leads, what sales is going to do?
But if there are leads and there are no conversions, then what marketing will do?
Marketing will bring more leads which are ready to buy. Often I have seen, and you must have seen this many a times, that many of the products they don't need sales. Like you go in front of people the right way and people buy it, right? Have you ever have anybody ever convinced you to buy a Coca-Cola or
No.
McDonald's? You don't have sales teams over there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The right product in front of the right customer will make a self buy, self purchase.
Okay, great, great. And Kapil, one question I have now is like, after this spending 25 years in the industry, right? So today's Kapil and imagine Kapil 15 years back.
25 years back.
15
I,
years back.
okay.
What advice would today's Kapil give to Kapil 15 years younger?
I'll change the number from 15 years to 25 years for
Okay.
the that one of the most memorable thing in my life, moment in my life, is when we graduated. On the last day, we all friends discussed what we would like to do in our life, and my instant answer was, I can do anything except marketing. I cannot do marketing. I cannot do sales. So 25 years ago, I thought I cannot do marketing and sales. 25 years today, I am expert into that, doing exactly the same thing and teaching exactly the same thing to people.
Awesome.
So I would advise my younger self to take more bets earlier and to find good mentors and be in the right network. Mindset is everything. If you are if you are surrounded by 5 billionaires, you will be the sixth for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. And Kapil, what do you want our listeners to take away from your story?
Never give up. If I have to tell them something, this is the only thing I will say. Never give up. The journey is lonely for sure if you are not in the right circle. If you are not with the right people motivating you, it may feel lonely, but still it is worth. Everything that you are going through is worth at the end.
Superb, superb. And one last question, Kapil, is yours also is a journey from early day chaos to slowly finding the clarity, right? So how do
Absolutely.
you define clarity today?
All right. Clarity is to know what not to do.
Awesome. That's a very simple thing to क्या नहीं करना ये मालूम होना चाहिए बाकी अपने आप फिगर आउट हो जाएगा.
Correct. We waste a lot of time in thinking how to do things
Yeah,
and how can we run faster, but running faster in the wrong direction ultimately doesn't take us anywhere.
yeah,
No
absolutely.
extent. So it is very important to know where we want to go, and for that, clarity is understanding what we really don't want to do. I was very clear from day one that I don't want to get into a job, and that is what has always inspired me throughout all my uh, difficult days in life, and it is the same every time.
And Kapil, before we let you go, where can people find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. It's linkedin.in slash in Kapil Bhutkar. You can search me on Google. If you don't find me anywhere, you can simply do Google. There are a lot of pages mentioning me. Only I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You can ping me anywhere.
So for all our viewers, I'll put all those links where you can reach out to Kapil in the description. So do check them out. Kapil,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining today. You've been it was a
Yes.
real one,
Thank
honestly,
you.
and some real eye-opening facts about marketing, which I believe our viewers will love to implement in their businesses.
Thanks. I would love to hear their feedback, and they can, of course, reach out to me in case if they are struggling with any advices. I love giving back to the entrepreneurial community, helping them wherever it is possible.
So I would also request the viewers that basically if you have any questions, comments, doubts about marketing or how you're going to do marketing, approach customers, do put it into the comments and Kapil will be very happy to answer those. You can reach out to Kapil directly also. Also, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family so that more and more entrepreneurs get to know about these things. If you We also want to request to basically let us know how we can do this better in the comments below so that me and my team can work on that and bring you more and more good episodes. You have been listening to Chaos to Clarity. I'm your host Piyush Thacker and I'll see you in the next one.